Hi, I'm Rick Green. Whenever I give a presentation about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, there are 4 topics that invariably come up in the question and answer period afterwards. And they are medication, number 1, natural remedies, getting diagnosed, decluttering, who should you tell, and finally, finding the right career. And of these four, no wonder I always run long, and of these 4, the most important may be finding the right career.
I think everybody's got something to bring to the world. And because you're stuck with the idea that you can't, and you're stuck with all these challenges, you never get a chance to really tap into your true potential, your true strength. And they can't tap into it because they're so busy just trying to survive every single day of their lives at work.
I've met so many people with ADHD who struggle for decades, sometimes their whole lives, moving from job to job, seeking a field where they can excel. Excel, heck, even just do okay and not get fired.
People with ADHD have faced so much adversity, and in the wrong job, we can be totally depleted.
When I graduated from high school with a perfect C- average, I had no idea what I was going to do for a living, let alone find a niche where I could actually thrive.
We put tremendous pressure on our young adults to make major career decisions that cost thousands and thousands of dollars and years of their time and effort. And the general population struggles with that. The ADHD population really struggles with that.
Listen, I got lucky. I worked with some great people and I stumbled into what turned out to be a wonderful career for me. First as a comedy writer and performer, eventually progressing to directing, and then naturally producing, and inevitably as an advocate for people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It wasn't as linear as it was it was a lot of this. Finding the right career can take time. I know. It takes patience. I know. It's not a simple process because ADHD is not simple. It's not one size fits all. We're all a little different in our own quirky, unique way.
People will come in and say, I hope this won't take very long. I have ADHD, and I need that list. The list of ADD-friendly jobs, and I'll pick one, and I'll be gone. But it's really not at all that simple. We're very complex beings. We're made up of hundreds of puzzle pieces, and if you took 15 of those people and put them in a room, chances are none of the 15 would be exactly the same. They would all have pieces of different symptoms and to varying degrees.
ADHD is so individual. You got the combined subtype, the hyperactive subtype, the purely inattentive subtype. You got 18 core symptoms. Some may be strong, some may not. It's
the combinations of those symptoms and to the varying degrees that you have them result in somebody having a very different skill set and challenge set than someone else. Both ADD people, perhaps both in the same career field, and they operate totally differently.
the right job for you depends on you and your flavor of ADHD. You want to look at both the areas where you struggle and where you soar. You can thrive in the right situation despite, or sometimes partly thanks to, your symptoms.
My son is a high school teacher, and he loves it because he can be up and about, he can be animated, he can use his energy, he can use his creativity, he can be at the front of the room, the back of the room, sitting, standing, and for him, that's perfect.
People with ADD focus in a crisis. They're calm, cool, and collected in a crisis. So they'll often seek dangerous jobs or high-stim jobs like a trial attorney,
racing a motorcycle,
race car driver,
taming wild horses,
entrepreneur,
running a bungee jumping operation.
brain surgeon,
an emergency room physician,
trader on the commodities exchange.
a stockbroker is in a crazy, overstimulating environment, taking constant risks that would make anybody else think twice with someone else's money. It's perfect.
Really, the key to treating adult ADD is to marry the right person and find the right job. And adults with ADD often make the same mistake in both domains. They marry and work for someone who is controlling, demeaning, picking, and someone who doesn't really like them all that much, because they got the idea around about 5th grade that that's what they needed, that they were a hopeless case. So they had to be ridden herd on, they had to be controlled, they had to be demeaned and put down.
By the way, some of these experts have ADHD themselves. Most of them are pretty open about it, and they've found their happy place. As my mom told me, if you love what you do for a living, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And Mom, she was a mob hit woman, and she loved it.
If somebody happened to have ADHD and they had my job, it would be perfectly suited. I'm never in the same place for more than 45 minutes. I am managing lots of different projects at the same time. I have an executive assistant to help with things that might make somebody else disorganized. So one can learn to use them to their advantage.
I actually remember a 7-year-old who I said, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" And he said, "A radio announcer." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because it would be so wonderful if people could just press a button and turn me on and turn me off."
However, for those with the purely inattentive subtype, the more quiet, thoughtful ADD adults, a busy workplace can be overwhelming. Short deadlines, stressful. Constant interruptions, debilitating. And yet they may flourish in a field that has very few set rules or strict deadlines or standard operating procedures. Artist, long-distance trucker, writer.
If people with ADHD could live on the farm and get up with the crows and go to sleep with the cows, they'd be much better off. They wouldn't have that regimentation. But that's an attribute of our society, and the challenge then is, obey the rules of society in order to fit in.
The joke was always that the worst job for somebody with ADHD would be to work in the motor vehicles department, processing papers, or in a bank, or being a toll collector or whatever, because it's so boring. And
I think having the worst kind of job I can think of would be working at a call center, where you're kind of stuck in a chair and you have to respond to people and you have to be civil and have to be nice all the time.
Unless you love being helpful. There's no one list of ADHD-friendly jobs or ADHD-unfriendly jobs.
Traditionally, people have steered ADD individuals away from certain jobs, like accounting and like anything that requires them to sit for long periods of time. The truth is that your set of symptoms may be such that you are a hyper-focuser.
So if you have a job where you can stay hyper-focused on a project and you don't need to be shifting sets often, that's great, but you're going to do poorly on the tests, on the neuropsychological tests that we use that measure the ability to shift sets.
Yes, there are careers that ADHD people are drawn to. Whether they're a good fit for it is a whole other thing. Sometimes we don't know really what the tasks are of a particular career because there's so many attorney shows. People think that it's like what's on TV. And it's ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and if I'm a good presenter or I'm a good orator or I talk well with people, I'm going to be a great attorney. And truthfully, if you look at the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, which is online, it breaks down jobs into tasks and gives what they call the essential tasks of each job. And you would find that law is 75% data. And so people think they're attracted to a particular field that doesn't necessarily line up with what they're all about.
Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. You might be drawn to something that doesn't seem, at first glance, like a match for ADHD.
And if you are, you could still be very ADD, but you don't have the hyperactivity component. And you might make a wonderful accountant. You might make a wonderful researcher.
But I have a client who's a lawyer who deals with the most complicated and involved legal cases that go on for years as well. So.
But generally, we prefer variety, novelty, fresh challenges, very clear tasks, do this, short deadlines.
I don't understand why cooking is often ADHD friendly. It's everything that ADHD people should hate. It's boring, it requires time management, requires following a recipe.
Okay, cooking doesn't float my boat, but ADHD is rampant in the restaurant business. Check out an episode of The Bear. So to summarize, understand your particular version of ADHD, and then understand what the jobs entail. In the next episode, what if you finally score a job you love and you're so good at it, you get a raise and a promotion to a different job? Welcome to management. You'll be tracking paperwork, detail work, financials, schedules, organizing, long meetings. We'll also talk about career counselors and why so many don't get it, online tests, and jobs with structure, with real structure. For some people, that is frustrating. For others, it provides focus and clarity. All right, thanks for watching. Do share your thoughts and experience in the comments or drop by the house, bring lunch. After a few days, once you've digested all the ideas in this video, check out part 2. Yeah, 2 days. Who am I kidding? You're going to watch it right now. I would. But you might want to grab a pen and a paper to jot down stuff that resonates with you. I know I always have lots of thoughts and ideas and these aha moments and, oh yeah, and that's good, and I could this, or what about that? Oh, and you know what else? That reminds me. And each new idea makes me forget what the last epiphany was. What was it? This is good. Boom, that gets bump, boom, bump. And so by the end, I can't, what was I going to say here? Oh, I had something here. I lost it because